Now, we were talking about HR analytics. When we said HR analytics, definitely we are doing some analysis of some data, right? We are doing analysis of all our HR processes data. It could be recruitment, it could be performance management, it could be training and development, it could be anything which is related to the data which is coming out of all these HR functions, right? Okay. Now, but how are we going to impact the business results? Are you getting me? We are doing something. Are we wanting to do it in isolation? Just because we are sitting on HRIS data, are we wanting to do just for the sake of analytics? Or we want to impact business results? Are you
We
getting
want
me?
impact.
We want to impact, or we want to ensure that the organization achieves its business goals.
Yeah.
HR doesn't exist as an isolated function.
Yeah.
HR doesn't exist because it just wants to recruit, it just wants to do training, it just wants to do performance management. All these activities definitely have to impact or achieve business results. That's the starting point. Okay. Now, in order to achieve business results, I need to understand what I will actually call it as the strategy of the organization. Means, and having understood what is the business, what is the business model. Okay, I talked about the three strategies, three ways of looking at organization: operational excellence, product leadership, or customer intimacy. What is the strategy of the organization? What is the vision and mission of the organization? Now, based on the vision and mission and the strategy at an organizational level, there is a measurement tool for the organization. What is this balance scorecard? There is a measurement tool, a management framework. So when I actually say that this organization is doing well, traditionally I'm only looking at the kind of profit the organization has made. No, I'm only looking at what? Traditionally, oh, how well, what is the turnover? What is the profit? Traditionally, my focus is only towards what? The financial performance of the organization. Having said that, the financial performance of the organization is important. But can you achieve financial performance of revenue, turnover, profits just by alone focusing on that? So Robert and Kaplan, Norton and Kaplan, they came up with a measurement tool for the organization, which is also called a strategic management framework, which is called balanced scorecard, which, as Jay also said, saying that it has four perspectives, right? Can you see this? Four perspectives. And what are those four perspectives? Financial perspective, customer perspective, internal business processes perspective, and learning and growth. Why did they come up with four perspectives in a balanced scorecard? They said it balances both outcomes and performance drivers. It balances these outcomes, which last time I told you, the financial and the customer perspective are only outcomes. And what are the drivers? The drivers are business processes and learning and growth. So they created this scorecard in such a way that it balances both short-term objectives and long-term objectives. Okay. So in order to achieve, they said, hey, you cannot just focus on the financial aspect only. All the four perspectives will have certain goals. Okay. So all the four perspectives will have certain goals. Then they'll have certain measures. And that measure will have a target. And how will you go about? Got it? Let us just look at it, the next one. Yeah. So it has four perspectives And when we talk about 4 perspectives, it said that I cannot just focus on only the financial perspective, which is all the time saying productivity, cost, revenues, etc., unless and until I actually work bottom up, saying that what kind of people, what kind of skills, what kind of innovation, etc., so that I can then improve my processes, which in turn will give what better customer to the customer, better products, better customer service, better customer engagement, and then that will result into financials. Okay, so what we tried to explain last time was that the linkage of what you do in HR with the business objectives. Okay, what I'm trying to say, the linkage. Now how do we do that? say for example say for example how do you link what do you do in HR with the balanced scorecard? Say, for example, I'm doing recruitment. Komal is doing, think of it. Komal in her organization Kinetics is doing talent acquisition. Okay. Now, just because she's in talent acquisition, she is, collecting all data and doing all kinds of analytics. But what if you were to understand, hey, the financial goal of the organization is to reduce cost? Then her focus will be to ensure from the talent acquisition recruitment process, what kind of sourcing will I do? At what cost will I do? So she will focus on cost per hire. Then that will become the metric. Then the data which will come out, she will start doing analytics also to ensure trends and also to do analysis whether it is actually aligning with the cost perspectives of the organization. Are you with me, guys? Please just give me a thumbs up. Very, very important, because you can't blindfoldedly, just because Yogesh or Jayesh is sitting on some HRIS huge data, I will sit and keep doing analytics. No. What are those business drivers? I spoke about business drivers. What are those business drivers which impact and affect business? And therefore, I will then choose to start doing analytics, because those become important. Because tomorrow, when I have to present it to my CHRO, tomorrow, when I have to present it to my MD, then I will say, hey, sir, see, I have done employee engagement analysis and I'm seeing that there's a huge correlation with employee engagement and performance. Performance is an outcome, right? Huh? And employee engagement. And if I actually improve by 0.1, the performance is going to go up, which will impact revenue, which will impact EBITDA. Now, can you see the linkage? Okay. Likewise, return on investment. Say, for example, I don't know who is here in L&D. L&D, anybody in L&D? Say, for example, I am sitting in L&D, I'm doing number of training programs. Okay. Anybody L&D, please? I want to know. Okay. Think Jayesh is a researcher. He might also do L&D. What does an L&D person do? What is the L&D head in charge of? Running training programs, right? Increasing the competency level of the workforce, right? Ensuring that the right kind of programs are done in the right time, including solutioning. That is, what kind of models do I have? E-learning model, or do I have classroom models, etc., etc. So definitely, what will be very important from the financial perspective? Anybody, please tell me. The ROI. What is the return on investment? Which will add, if my people are trained very well, high competencies, performance will increase. That means they are able to sell better or increase more revenue. So can you see how it is linked to financial? Right? Or say, for example, if I'm giving the right kind of sales training, so maybe I'm improving, providing better customer service. Therefore, then what I will do, I will be actually increasing my customer loyalty, so increasing the market share of the customers. Okay. So that's how it is linked to the customer perspective. Are you with me, guys? So can you see that how you can establish a linkage or what you do in your role, the business, by understanding A, what are the business drivers and what is that I do which will affect and impact that business. Where is Sunil? Sunil,
Yes,
I want to
yes,
see
ma'am,
you.
I'm
Huh?
here. Yeah, yes, I'm here, ma'am, only.
I
So
want to
I'm just
understand from
listening.
you. See, I'm trying to help you all to understand linkage between what means. How can an HR scorecard be developed, which will link with BSc? It is not in isolation. Not in isolation. Like Sunil, he does a lot of payroll activity, right? Hmm? You are doing now. Typically, what will happen with a financial perspective? Huh? The payroll, the cost, wage cost. It should be what, as in compared to the market. It should be depending on whether you have uh, positioned yourself at a 75th percentile or at an 80th percentile. I'm sorry, guys, I'm using that word percentile. Means that means when you compare your salary with the market, you use a word called percentile. Okay. Where when I say percentile, 75th percentile, that means 75 companies are paying lesser than what you are paying, and 25 companies are paying more than what you're paying. Okay. And I will definitely explain that in detail when we come to the compensation metrics, right? So, what happens then? You are looking at your data. So, what you will do, you will actually look at, hey, these are the number of people in different grades. This is the salary. How are they in comparison to the market percentile?
Market.
Are they high? Are they low? Or again, grade wise, initially, are they into higher market percentile? As they keep moving into higher grades, are they in a lower percentile? Why so? Is it because, I am actually, my recruitment strategy is to attract talent. So therefore, I'm giving it a higher market percentile. But as they keep going in higher and higher in the organization, I am not wanting to keep pace with that kind of an increase. So there's different things coming up, right? So you can compare what with different positions, with different performers. So you have a huge data. Or for example, in a payroll, you're also having variable pay, right? You can look at the variable pays and what do an analysis of it and link it with your financial perspective. Now, when it comes to, like, for example, a customer perspective, today you also can do what we call it as a NPS, Net Promoter Score. What is this Net Promoter Score? That means, hey, your employees, what kind of comments have they given on the Glassdoor? What have they done? Are they saying about how many are they recommending, or are they saying no, this is a bad organization? You can do, right? So that is again, so when you will see that higher the NPS score, and you will also see that you can then see that the customers are increasing, because higher the NPS score, that means employees are highly satisfied, higher level of satisfaction. Is there a correlation between higher level of satisfaction and performance also? Okay, so these are the, for example, we talked about in balance scorecard another perspective. What is that? The internal business processes. This is what exactly it is. How are your processes running? Are they running efficiently, effectively, so that they can deliver the product, services, or the products what you are promising, right? So how? So in order to do that, what can you do from the HR perspective? Are you recruiting the right kind of talent? Like, for example, Komal was mentioning in our TV kinetics, this is what we are doing. So their data processes people. What is the kind of time to fill? The quality of people? Are they? Is there a correlation between the kind of people I'm taking and the performance, so that my internal processes can be improved? Then, what is the turnover rate, attrition? Then voluntary attrition, involuntary attrition, right? Turnover analytics. We'll talk about it. Then when we come to L&D, the kind of training, development, the number of things we do in training, we can do huge amount. For example, in training and development, we will be talking about, say, for example, there are 4 or 5 competencies required, just because everybody understands, for a sales employee. Which is that key competency or two which is impacting performance? I will do training only in that, right? Not all the competencies. So how will I know? So I will actually do HR analytics. I will capture data and then I will see which has the highest correlation with performance. Then I will do training in that for the people.
Here,
Succession
ma'am,
planning.
sorry to
Huh?
interrupt, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello.
Any
Just want to
now
check
any
one thing,
questions?
sir.
I'm trying to
Regarding
link.
the
Ah,
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am. Just want to check one thing regarding the recruitment, then L&D. Suppose we hire
yes.
a candidate, okay, as per the recruitment, as per the operation, or as per the management, okay. So we hire a candidate, entire score is A. Then after that, every company has some training phase, L&D and other things. So we have same process. After that, we hand over the candidate to our training team, okay. When we measure the L&D, after L&D, the role play and other theoretical, and just measure the score, we got we think about the we provide the A candidate, then what is the current score of the candidate, whether it's a or B or C. So I just want to check how we can measure the training impact of the candidate. So suppose we are giving A, after training we required A plus, not B or C. So is there any way where we can track is candidate learn more through L&D or
Very
not?
simple, very simple. Sunil, if you are sitting on data, now you have, first step is you have recruited. Okay. When you do recruitment process, there is a process called interview process. No,
I agree. Yes.
there is a process. No, only after interviewing, you will source, select, shortlist, select, and then you will do interviewing. When interviewing, will you give him an interview or rating?
Yes, yes, definitely. That's why I'm saying na
Huh?
A candidate.
Huh?
So
Huh? So,
according to the recruitment, it is the A candidate.
so there are 10 candidates, right?
Right, ma'am.
Okay. Now you have given what? Score to those candidates. I can
So
say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. E, F. I'll just take 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now
yes,
these
ma'am.
are your
Yes,
candidates.
yes, ma'am.
Done?
Right.
Now, this is your, I will just say
Recruitment score.
interview rating. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? Interview
Yes, ma'am.
rating. Done?
Thank you.
One,
Right.
2, 3, 2, 1, 3. Okay. Maybe 5. On a scale of 1 to 5, what? Interview rating. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
You have finished training, orientation, and then there is also
Induction.
something called process training. Okay. That training which takes place, and then there is an assessment also. So I will say training assessment rating. Huh? After the training,
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is all right.
Mm.
So again, you have 1, say again, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4. Ad hoc, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, any analytics, did I tell you? Analytics can be done only when your data is what? Quantified. QUANTI numerical. Even if it is qualitative data, you can translate it into quantitative data, which I spoke about it last time, right? Huh?
Right.
Hot,
Right.
hotter, hottest. So can you give number 1, 2, 3? Right? Done. Now after 3 months, you will be getting this data. 6 months, Lelo. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Performance rating. After this guy has been sent to the process, or after he has been sent to the business vertical, 3 months or 6 months, typically 6 months. What is his rating? So 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Done. Now, what you can do? You can actually look at what we are calling it as, is your training very effective? Then do a correlation between training and performance rating.
Here, I just want to check one thing, Sam. So,
Mm,
suppose in case we give candidate A, okay. So, candidate A rating interview is 1, okay. So, here we expected that in case we give the score A for A candidate, score 1 for
mm.
A candidate, after training, it should be 2 or 3 under the training, because we are just giving the 100% training about the product, 100% process and company background. So
Right.
training rating should be changed 1 to 2, because that's the impact of the training now. So how we can measure the training impact? Because we are giving score 1 at the time of recruitment. After training, still he's on 1 score, and after performance, still he's on 1. So we need to show some improvement of the training, because 1 after that it should be 2 or 3.
Absolutely. Now, what you need to do
Madam,
is collect one.
madam, I have
Yeah.
one.
Huh.
Madam, I have one realistic scenario because in
Now,
interviews
now,
we
let us
never
just.
take.
Can I?
Yes,
Okay, I want to hear yours. Now, yeah. Tell
madam, in
me.
a realistic
Huh.
scenario, we never take candidates who are performing on an interview rating of 1, 2, 3. We generally go for candidates who are at least 4 and 5.
4 and
So
5.
we
Above
Absolutely.
shortlist those
5.
candidates
So
as
It
I'm
well,
was
just,
right?
negative.
it's a
Yes. I agree
So,
hypothetical
on that.
case.
Huh?
Huh?
so,
Maybe
so,
in
so when
Sunil's
we,
organization, they
yeah.
are taking people at 1 also, 2 also, 3 also. Huh? Okay.
So
Yeah.
when we modulate that candidate in a real scenario, when you perform, so they will be always in 4 or 5 only. So how
Yeah.
to
Yes.
segregate those
Yeah.
those kind of scenarios
Absolutely.
actually, madam?
So
Mhm.
one is generic is whether what I'm doing during interview, training, and performance. That's one data you can collect and see if there is correlation. That's one scenario. Now let us come to Sunil's scenario of saying that if my A candidate, okay, A candidate, I'm giving him what is the training, and I'm giving becomes A, right? Then after that, then um, how can I make my orientation training very effective? That's the question, Sunil. Huh?
Yes.
So
Yes, ma'am.
that I can improve. So, what kind of analytic will you do there? A, list out, list trainings covered. Okay. First of all, you have to list out all the trainings covered. You can have, say for example, again, just a very common uh, call center employees training. There you will give him listening, no?
Yes.
Right? Then you might also give him both behavioral and operational, no? So how to take
Behavior,
calls,
operation,
right?
product.
Product.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then what else will you give him? Tell me. Anybody? Jay, you can also contribute here. Yeah. Anybody? Communication. It could be written communication if it is an inbound, outbound, depends. It could be both in terms of written communication or uh, only spoken communication, right? There could be 3 or 4. Now, what
Negotiation, it may be design thinking,
but
negotiation.
yeah,
We can put it.
so depends on what are the things you're doing. Now, what do you need to do? These are things, but you want to make, you are giving these, every candidate who comes in, you are giving him 4 or 5 trainings, and then he goes off to the what is it, business process. Okay, but your objective or goal is, hey, because the business is saying, I want to have people who are very effective so that they can really perform better. Now, how do I all these 5? You are looking at them and then doing, but which is really more important? That's what you want to look at. So typically what you do when you're doing an HR, take a data of a sample of maybe 50 or maybe 100 you have of people who are performing average and also high performers. Got it? Now what will
Agree.
you do? Average or high performers. Now you take their performance, you take their performance rating. All right. They must be very good, whatever performance rating. Now, you put those 20 or 50 people, like say, for example, listening skill, IELTS, some kind of a test, and see what is the score they have. Again, put for product, again, test them, give them a score. Again, communication. That means what? You will have to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever these trainings you are giving, all of them to an assessment center and give, because you normally do all this, so you will have some kind of a ratings for them. Okay, ratings. Did you get me, please? We did this for many organizations, okay, and especially for
Yes.
salespeople. Now, once you have the ratings, now what do you need to do? You need to do a correlation exercise for each and every area of training. Is listening has a high correlation with the performance rating? Does product information has a high correlation with performance rating? Does communication has a high correlation with performance rating? So there is an exercise here which we will be doing, where you will be able to understand. So I will get correlation for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So depending on which has highest correlation, it could be 1 or 2, you need to focus more on them so that your performance rating becomes more, because not all 5 competences are equally important which affect or impact the performance. So if I'm doing it equally, performance does not improve. But if I choose to do training for that competency or skill which has the maximum impact on performance, then I will get far better results. Are you getting me, Sunil?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
get that?
I'm with you.
Huh?
Yes, yes,
And we
yes, sir.
have a data set exercise which will help you to understand this. Okay.
Sure,
We
ma'am.
will be
Sure.
doing in a breakout activity. Yes. Yes. So when we are talking about evaluation, yes, all people who are sitting in L&D, they have huge amount of data where you can link it up with your business goals. Normally what happens? We are going to come to that one slide I'm going to show. Human Capital Readiness Index, which is very, very popular in today's times if you want to showcase it to your CEO or top management, where we are not all positions are critical. So we'll talk about that index as well. Okay. But have you understood the linkage of balance scorecard with HR scorecard? Have you understood, guys? Very clear? Okay. Okay. Now, if you have understood and you have no questions, I want you all to do a breakout activity. Okay. So here again, just trying to re-emphasize what does it mean when we are preparing an HR scorecard? We are trying to align this HR scorecard with balance scorecard so that we are establishing linkage and most importantly, cause and effect. Okay, cause and effect relationship. So now when we do HR scorecard, we are able to monitor how by doing an analytics around those metrics so that we know that we are able to achieve these business goals, and we keep monitoring, and when business keeps changing its goals, etc., we are also altering our HR scorecard and aligning accordingly, because internal environment, external environment, for example, most of the time you say, hey, I'm not able to get people in my for my when you're in a talent acquisition and not at that cost. So internal environment, external environment keeps changing. So in order to be very effective and efficient, we keep monitoring and changing our what strategies, even our HR strategy. Very clear, guys? Very clear? Any questions? Because you will now go into 2 groups, and I really want you to work at this. Very interesting. You can take photo of this. You are a company. You can call yourself any company, or even you can say this is a tech solution company. Okay, which is into what? It's a technology services company providing software solutions to various industries. Got it? The company's strategic goals include what? You have to increase market share, improving customer satisfaction, streamlining all the internal processes, that means operational processes, and improving or fostering employee development. Now, I want you to create an HR scorecard on these 4 balanced scorecard perspectives. Think in detail, okay? And if these are the financial goals, what are you going to create? Means what kind of metrics will you put there in order for the organization to achieve its market share, improve its customer satisfaction, streamline its internal processes, and fostering employee development. Okay? Please take a picture. Very easy to do. All right? Very easy to do. And all that you need, I have explained to you very well. Any doubts, please ask me now. Any questions? What are you supposed to do? What kind of metrics in the HR will you actually capture? And what kind of analytics will you do in order to achieve these business goals on those 4 perspectives? Got it? So that means actually you're creating an HR scorecard. Very simple. What causes the effect? So you have to try to identify what are those causes in all the HR functions which can impact and affect your 4 perspectives outcomes or the business outcomes. Very clear?
Looking at the HR scorecard, we thought for like how as a function we can contribute to the perspective and the goals of the organization by using matrix and the kind of matrix we can use. So for financial, increased profitability and cost efficiency, we thought of hiring the right talent at the right time by using a cost per hire matrix, then cost efficiency through
So,
Six Sigma
can
analysis.
because 1 second, huh? I like the word provide right talent at the right time. Yes. So there are several processes involved. So cost per hire means reducing the cost per hire, right?
Right.
So cost per hire will be your metric, which you will track and see
Yes.
what is the kind of cost involved. Good.
Correct. Then we want to use it compensation market benchmarking to understand where the compensation the company is wanting to provide to its employees to to match with the portfolio of the organization. So that
So I like the idea compensation market benchmarking, which means percentile. When we talk about
percentile.
benchmarking, percentile, and you are saying compa ratio. Compa ratio is totally internal. That means
Internal.
where am I? Okay, that
Yes.
compa ratio could be vis-a-vis the market or vis-a-vis the midpoint of your own grade. So
Correct.
you can also, like for example, just to give you a little bit of an understanding for others, so we can do analytics around comp ratios. So typically what happens when we are doing annual increment exercise, when we are doing a annual increment based on the performance, then you have a rating scale, then you assign certain ratings. But then what happens? You are also looking at what the bell curve and the normalization, and then you may have 2 people who are in the same role, but with 2 different comp ratios, one high and one low, but having got the same performance rating, then how much of increment will you give to a person who is at a lower comp ratio and how much will you give to higher? All this can be done through analytics. So compensation analytics come into play. Absolutely. We will do a little more in our next session where we will also use predictive regression. So I'm not getting too much into it, but definitely it will help your understanding. Next session, I'll go a little more deeper there. Okay, good. Then
looking at the perspective of customer, we want to have an employee satisfaction survey to understand the customer satisfaction level and the loyalty which we provide. We were also discussing this point to have diversion and inclusion. Would it be part of customer or internal processes, ma'am?
So in fact, when it can be even at a customer, like for example, you can do a D&I. Say for example, your D&I could not only be restricted to gender, it could also be extended to nationalities, like you're saying, Netherlands, nationalities. It can regions, right? Ages. So your D&I could go move beyond the gender. Okay.
So we
Yeah,
can
and it can be a part of customer.
okay, but how, ma'am? Because we all Yogesh, Jayesh, we had a little bit of thinking that we were on the internal. We should put this as internal process, not as a customer.
Again, as I said, it also depends, and there is no hard and fast rule. Are you here with me? You do not have to put one boundary wall saying that, hey, this has to be in customer, this has to be an internal process. Wherever the litmus test, do you know what is litmus test? Anybody who's done chemistry? How do you say where should it go? Customer or internal process? That's litmus test. So just put this. Hey, does this cause an effect to IBP when I do this? Or does this cause effect to customer? Correct?
Okay.
Where does it make an impact? Where does it give? What causes? I mean, does this cause an impact at a customer perspective or to an IBP? Simple as that. Whenever you are identifying certain kind of an HR metric, all that you need to ask for yourself is, where is it making an impact? Outcome, result. And you put it to that perspective. Then, very
Okay.
clear, Sunil, Yogesh, Jayesh. This is a very basic question. Now you can't
Yes,
keep
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
you can't keep listing down everything, say, hey, this has to go into financial, this has to go into customer. You must have some kind of a formula or a litmus test. So what is the litmus test? Where does it impact or what causes, this is the cause and this causes an impact to this perspective. That gives you a simple solution. Okay? Yeah. Can we move forward?
Okay. Then it is internal process. We wanted to do it through Six Sigma analysis. What is
Excellent.
the policies, HR policies, especially we wanted to know is through doing an effective survey. Pulse
Okay.
surveys there.
Okay,
HR
one
audit.
second. So I'm asking you a question. So this is a metric, we'll say pulse survey we are doing. So what kind of a data set will you collect? When you say you want to measure, so you also have to understand what will be the, you want to know the policy effectiveness, right? So you're doing a pulse survey. So what kind of a data will you collect? And you will prepare a questionnaire. You will send it to employees, right?
Employees.
You will
Yes.
have a
Yes,
rating
madam.
scale.
Yes, madam.
And then you will
Yes, madam.
correlate the data with something. If people are very happy, then it should show an outcome. That means whenever you are doing these things, you must have two sets of data, cause and effect, or cause and outcome. Got it?
Okay.
Right, madam. Right, madam.
Okay.
Understood.
Yeah, let's carry on.
Then we were also thinking to use HR audits and compliance. Are we, covering all the compliance as per labor law, shop and establishment, shop and
So to look
establishment?
at that regulatory and compliance kind of a
Yes,
process,
yes,
entire process. Yeah.
yes. And then also we thought of that PMS effectiveness would be also a great measure to for internal process, how
Absolutely.
the performance of the employees and the organization is
Yeah.
moving ahead for a better value.
Great.
So
Great.
learning
We will
growth
talk more about those metrics when I just show you all those metrics. Okay. Good.
for learning and growth, we feel training analysis, rejection
Absolutely.
training, then percentage of high potential talent readiness for succession planning.
In
Uh,
fact, when you do uh, training need analysis, training effectiveness, etc. You can actually predict if you have by increase of one number feedback, this many customers will be impacted. Increasing of two feedback, so you can actually predict. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Good job, guys. Okay.
Thank you.
I will then show you the solution as well, what we worked on. Can I have the other group? Good work done. Yeah. Okay. Just before I move on to that group, now maybe you can do it later whenever you have time. You have done this. So we also did yesterday in the last session something called strategic map. Right? We did strategic map. Now, what is strategic map and where does it figure out here? Strategic map is nothing but a visual, just like you all did dashboards, etc. Strategic map is a visual which establishes linkages with what? The cause and the effect. So therefore, you can actually draw what lines and indicate arrows saying this causes the effect. This causes the effect. Got it, guys? Okay. That is a visual map indicating or establishing linkages of cause and effect. There. Okay, the next route now. Let's hear it out.
So in terms of financial, so we have to check cost of hire, then retention cost, return of investment in training, per employee cost, and benchmarking,
Good.
and
Ah,
R&R. Okay, reward and
good.
recognized.
Very good. Yeah.
For
Okay.
yeah, in terms of customer satisfaction, CSAT, and then customer satisfaction score. Okay, so we can prepare the set of questions. Okay, through form, and we can also conduct the satisfaction survey within our employee.
That and employee satisfaction score.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
What is CSAT?
For
Yeah. Somebody asked what is CSAT. Anybody who
CSAT,
wants to? Who
CSAT?
asked?
It's the
What is
customer
CSAT?
satisfaction
Customer
customer
It is
satisfaction.
customer satisfaction survey. CSAT survey. Okay. Ah.
internal process,
You can
ma'am.
do it through Wilbam was saying that you CSAT survey can, or even employee satisfaction survey can be easily done through Google Analytics, which will do real time. You don't have to do much of it. Yeah. Tell me.
So
Yes,
next,
guys.
ma'am, internal process. So under the internal process, employee engagement score. So basically, we can perform like employee engagement activities and prepare a survey report so that we can check how we can engage employee and satisfy
Hmm.
our employee. Minimize problems, employee attrition rate. To reduce employee attrition rates, then time to hire. So in case we reduce our hiring
Hmm.
cost or time, so also we can improve our internal process. In terms of
So
learning and growth,
employee attrition rate here it becomes very important. Turnover analytics, right? You can
yes,
do
ma'am.
turnover analytics. In fact, in organization today, attrition is a huge challenge. Voluntary
Yes, ma'am.
attrition, involuntary attrition, high
Involuntary,
pot attrition, etc. And then you can do a lot of analytics around it. Okay.
Reason for
Then
attrition.
time on hire. That means reducing the time, right?
Reducing the time.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Learning
Because
and
if
growth,
you
ma'am. So some company provide 1 month, 2 month training, so we can also record the man days, okay, and hours of training. E-learning, we can also set some e-learning courses and send out through survey or maybe internal portal. On job training, we can also conduct on job training time to time as per the requirement. Training assessment score, after training we require the complete score and assessment of training, whether employee getting employee understand what is the training motive and what is the outcome. Then performance tracker, after that, after providing the entire training session, so we need to track the employee performance for the next 6 or 1 year so that we can make appraisal, and after that we can provide the incentive or other things or check the
These
higher
are the things
growth
one
rate.
can do. Okay. And
Yes.
excellent, guys. And now you can actually create also arrows. What, I mean, what leads to what? Like, for example, if you do a lot of training, does it actually increase improvement in business processes? Then this, because of internal business processes, better products and services, which will result into financials. Okay, that's how you establish linkage, which is also called strategic map. That means trying to establish linkage and drawing those arrows, cause and effect relationship. Okay, guys, great. Yeah, let me just show you. Okay, I just did a very simplified work. Okay, a lot of you actually looked at cost per hire. I just put an example. Somebody looked at employee engagement surveys, ENP surveys, right? ENPS, it could be one of the metric. Then somebody wrote time to fill. Yes, very good. And number of hours also, luckily. I think in Sunil's presentation, I saw number of hours per employee. That could also be a metric. Very interesting. Okay. Now, so how are we going? So you have written that. So this is to re-emphasize. And how are you aligning your HR code with the PSC? Say, for example, HR, is translating by saying, hey, cost per hire, etc. It is translating that into a financial goal by decreasing the cost and taking care of the cost control and increasing profitability, right? That's how it is the linkage. Even if you look at employee satisfaction score, that means how do you establish linkage? If your employees are happy, then you have better customer satisfaction. Then if you are better satisfaction, then increase of customers loyalty, which will also enhance what? Market share. Any questions here? Any questions here? None. Okay. Again, for example, internal processes. If you don't have people, somebody wrote that time to fill. I think it was Sunil's thing, I think. Who was Sunil? You seem to have written exactly what all I have written. Huh? Okay. So if you don't have people at the right time, then what happens? Your processes get affected. No, operations get affected. If your operations are getting affected, then what will happen? Obviously, productivity gets impacted. Productivity gets impacted, then what happens? Obviously, revenues get impacted. So this metric of filling in on time is also very, very important, whether for new hires or for rehires. Got it? Okay. Then leadership development programs, etc. And all these, how you can actually establish, linkage with the learning growth can be linked to internal processes, which in turn can increase customer satisfaction and also financial perspective of increasing productivity and increasing revenue. Okay. This is just to show the linkages, right? So further down, when we are writing, so when you are writing the HR scorecard, that means HR scorecard also has certain objectives, right? You only wrote these metrics. So for example, why do you do training hours? Why do you use that as a metric? Because you want to enhance employee development, right? Or for example, if you want to improve the performance management, you are also looking at the performance rating. Somebody has already mentioned, which is a metric. So when you have metrics, you also need to have targets. You agree? What is a target? Anybody, can you tell me? In recruitment, say for example, I will say time to fill. What will be the target then?
45 days.
Time is nothing but, hey, I'm saying 30 days, depending.
30 days, ma'am. 1 month, obviously.
Yeah, that means. So if I don't have a target, what will happen?
It takes lots
How
of
will I
time to
measure?
recruitment.
No. How will I measure? How will I measure? Huh? How will I know that these are on? I've been able to fill these positions within time, and these positions have still to be filled. Are you getting me? So when you have a metric, even target is important. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
The importance of target. Say, for example, I want to reduce cycle time. That means in production, I'm saying, hey, I want to reduce cycle time. Anybody in manufacturing? So should it have a target or no? Cycle time could be 30 minutes or 1 hour, huh? Because depending on the efficiency metrics. right? So even like, for example, quality of hiring, I should have a target. Hey, anybody, on a rating scale of 4, like for example, Jay said, we don't hire people obviously at a rating scale of 1 and 2. Right, Jay? Huh? So is this
Yes,
clear?
madam.
Huh? Yes. So when you have a metric, you have to have a objective is nothing but a broad, what is that you want to achieve? Metric is a measure, and then you must have a target.